Welcome to the EPRI Current. My name is Samantha Gilman, and today we're going to be speaking with EPRI's Director of Energy Storage and DER, Haresh Kamath. We'll be speaking about the DistribuTECH International Conference that EPRI attended in February. Haresh, thank you for joining, and hello.
Hey, thank you very much, Samantha, for having me.
To preface our conversation about the DistribuTECH International Conference that we both attended, I'd like to have our listeners get a sense of the kind of research that you work on and that you manage here at EPRI.
Sure. I work in energy storage and DER integration, just as you said. So, a lot of the interest that I have is in understanding how those kinds of products are progressing in the industry. We saw a lot of really interesting things last week in both energy storage and in some new technologies and inverters and in software, especially around managing distributed resources of various kinds. A lot of stuff about electric vehicles too. So it was a pretty exciting conference.
It was. So EPRI brought a large team out to San Diego in February to attend the DistribuTECH conference. And we had many of our folks speak on panels. We had demos in our booth. What was your impression of DistribuTECH this year?
Well, it was great to see things coming back, after a few years. This is really the first year that DistribuTECH is fully back, or it felt that way to me. And there were just so many people on the floor. It was really fantastic to see them come in and to have an opportunity to see what they've been working on the last few years that we haven't seen make an appearance yet, as well as talk a little bit about what we've seen and exchange some information. So it was really good for that.
One thing that happened at DistribuTECH was the Secretary of Energy gave an announcement during the opening keynote about a new collaboration between EPRI, DOE, and NREL for a solar forecasting competition. So that was, for me, really exciting at the show to have the secretary up on the big screen and mention EPRI by name in this great competition. If you're interested in more on that, you can go to EPRI.com. But now, while we were at the show, I took a lot of footage of our folks in our booth on the show floor talking about what they saw, talking about the panels they were participating in. And so I'd actually like to cut over to that now so we can see firsthand what was going on at the DistribuTECH show floor. EPRI Current here on the floor at DistribuTECH. I'm joined by Ben York, our Integrated Grid and Energy Systems Applications Manager.
It's a great opportunity to see all the trends and technologies that are new and emerging in this space. EPRI is proud to be a consistent sponsor of this event. Later this afternoon, I'll be speaking at a panel on electric school buses with our partners Dominion Energy and Proterra. We'll be talking about all things needed to incorporate those into the future power system, including using vehicle-to-grid technology in this space.
Hi, my name is Summer Fabus, and I work on the applications team for IGES at EPRI, and this is my first time at DistribuTECH, but I've had a lot of fun so far, and I participated in a panel on electric school buses, and this was with Dominion Energy and Proterra, who manufactures school bus batteries and charging infrastructure. And on the panel, we discussed a pilot project that we have going on where we deployed 50 buses across the state of Virginia and then analyzed the impacts of those buses, just the baseline behavior, what normal charging looks like, and then what the potential availability could be for various grid services. And from that, we're hoping to learn more about what could happen if Dominion Energy expanded the program just beyond the 50 buses and what that would look like for the future to have an even greater impact on the grid.
Let's hear from Daniel Brooks, Integrated Grid and Energy Systems VP.
Wow. Pretty impressive. Walking around here at DistribuTECH on day one. Don't know if you got a chance to look around here, but 20,000 people estimated to be here, all coming together to figure out how the grid's going to be able to work to enable the clean energy transition, and distribution system a huge part of that. And EPRI, our nature's collaboration, so we're right in the middle of all of it. Started this morning with the keynote. Secretary Granholm from DOE announced the American-made Net Load Forecasting Prize, a competition looking at evaluating methods for providing situational awareness from solar PV out into the distribution systems and behind the meter on the grid edge. Going to use EPRI's Solar Forecast Arbiter platform in order to evaluate those forecasts and to run that competition. And not just that, but all kinds of things going on here in the booth. We've got staff talking about a lot of the great work that we're doing, starting with DER. How do we actually integrate DER into our system? The actual control systems to be able to do that. Advanced distribution management system capabilities, the work that we're doing to develop new functions, as well as to test functionality from systems that are out there commercially available or emerging. On the DERM side, how to actually take and to leverage those distributed resources, to aggregate those together, to be able to control them, to interact, to be a part of solving problems that are on the grid, and to be a part of that reliability and resiliency that we need in the distribution system as we go forward. The communications, having the gateways and DR gateways to be able to allow those grid edge resources to be able to communicate and to provide services back to the grid. EVs, we got folks here talking about our EV planning work and working with 10 utilities to determine, where are those fleets going to come and what's needed in terms of investment in the grid to enable that. Storage, microgrids, talking about a lot of the work that we're doing there, demonstrations where we're working to provide actual field experience to be able to enable that as we go forward.
Hi everyone, Lindsay Rogers with EPRI's Distribution Ops and Planning team, and we're really excited to be at DistribuTECH this week, showcasing some of the work we're doing in the distribution space. We're going to be talking today about a number of different projects that we have going on. We're going to talk about our grid modeling activities and how we're working to support utilities with processes and tools to improve their grid models and maintain them efficiently in the future. We're going to be highlighting the tools and assessments that we're doing to support fleet electrification and be able to understand the impacts on the distribution system from residential and fleet EVs, talking about the work we're doing with a number of utilities in that space. We're also going to be highlighting our projects in the distribution operations area and how we're using our ops lab in Knoxville to be able to test and assess distribution management systems and support utilities as they roll out new applications. We have a lot of new capabilities in Knoxville that we're excited to share with everybody this week. And finally, we're going to be talking about all of our assessment capabilities in the distribution space. We've done a lot of work over the years to advance planning tools for distribution engineers, and everything from hosting capacity to fleet electrification to mitigation alternatives and assessments. And we're going to be talking about the latest and the tools that we're working on at EPRI.
I am going to explain what we are doing about this spider testbed. So this is the acronym for Simulation Platform for Integration of DER, right? So I'm going to give you an update on the open DERMs. So you know about probably different things about DERMs, like DER management systems, like what we are doing there. So we have like power requests or service requests coming in from some DSOs or TSOs or something like that. We also have some DR aggregators in between, and they can talk to some like facility energy management system or something like that, or microgrid controller or local controller, whatever, which talk to the DERs directly, right? So I'm going to show you this test bed that we have created, where we have different software tools to represent each of these actors. On this screen, what we're seeing is like we call this OpenFEMS. So this is a software tool that we developed in-house at EPRI. So this is facility energy management systems, but this can be like put on a local controller or something like that. So you can think of it as connected to the DERs directly. We have DER simulators as well. And this thing is talking to the DER simulators using some actual communication protocols like DNP3 or Sunspec Modbus 23.5. So this is a software tool. Our DR simulator is another software tool. They're talking using DNP3 or Sunspec Modbus, right? So the idea is like if you just replace those DR simulators with actual DERs, actual inverters, it's still going to work the same thing. Okay, so that's a cool thing here. on this screen, what we have is what is representing an aggregator. So this is a DR aggregator, which takes in requests coming in from a DSO. So for example, and on this graph, what it's showing is like this blue curve is actually showing a request that came from a DSO. Okay, so it's a day-ahead request. So for example, a DSO requested that to resolve my problem, I need this much of energy at 1 p.m., this much of like electricity or power at 2 p.m., at 3 p.m., at 4 p.m. So it's kind of a like time and watt pairs, so 24 pairs for one day. So a request can be a day-ahead request, service request coming in from DSO, and aggregator receives that. Then aggregator has some contracts with these FEMs, right? So there are one or more FEMs, and the contracts tell like when these FEMs are available, when they're ready to provide energy to the grid, right? So the DERMS or the aggregator has to decide using some intelligence that how do I use all of my FEMs to provide the service to the DSO.
Wow, that was great. It was a really good show, and I'm glad that we got to see all those perspectives from our own EPRI folks there on the show floor. Did you attend any panels or see any new technologies or anything that really interested you at DistribuTECH this year?
Yeah, there was a lot of new, fascinating products that were out on the floor, actually. And I thought, there was it was great to see, for example, just how much progress has been made with software. A lot of the implementations that are out there are a lot more serious today than they were, 4 or 5 years ago. I think people have learned a lot from pilots and demonstrations that have been in the field. There's clearly a lot of work to be done yet on that, but great to see the progress. We saw some really fascinating new technologies. For example, robotics. There were these substation inspection robots that were actually walking around on the floor. And I think that those are really an eye catcher. I don't know if you saw those.
Yes,
but,
I saw one of those. It looked kind of like a dog. I think it was General Dynamics. We actually tested one of those at our Linux lab. I believe we named her Spot. But yes, I saw one of those walking around the show floor at DistribuTECH.
Right, just as you said. I mean, we know we have tested a whole bunch of those, and it's really exciting to see. That there are folks out there who are actually considering using that in the field.
Now, when you say software that you saw, are you talking about like the DER management system, the DERMS? One of our folks, Chakaria, did a demo of that we just saw, the Spider tool. Is that the kind of software that you're referring to?
Yeah, that's right. There's a lot of new DERMS work that's being done. And DERMS is a pretty broad space. It's almost like a continent, right? I mean, there's just so much to explore and so much to do with respect to that. And one of the reasons that we're developing the Spider software is to be able to test that software and to make sure that it has the functionality that utilities need to actually manage DER that's out there, that gives them the visibility that they need and the management capability that they need to affect some of the new approaches to managing DER, like flexible interconnection.
That's great. Well, Haresh, thank you for taking a few minutes to talk about the show with me. There was a lot of exciting stuff we saw in February at DistribuTECH. I hope that you can join us again, maybe later this year, to talk more about all the great energy storage work that your group is working on. But any final thoughts you want to leave with our listeners?
I think, this just kind of highlights the speed at which this industry is moving. This isn't, just a matter of buying equipment anymore. It's about understanding what this equipment does for you. And I think that the next 10 years is going to be really exciting just to see, which one of these things that are out there are going to be things that we recognize as making a significant impact on the industry, and which ones of them are maybe still need some more development.
I agree. There's going to be a lot of exciting advancements in this industry in the next decade and beyond. And with that, make sure you stay tuned to the next EPRI Current episode to see what technology we're talking about next. And you can see all our episodes at epri.com/EPRI Current. Thanks, Haresh.
Thanks, Samantha.
If you like today's show, we invite you to subscribe to our podcast. And feel free to share the podcast with your colleagues and friends. For more information about EPRI, please visit our website at www.epri.com. And don't forget to follow us on LinkedIn and Twitter at EPRI News. Together, we are shaping the future of energy.